Hey YouTube, another video, and this is the second part of my reading and writing into memory video. This time we're dealing with a 64-bit memory, and it's a bit more complex than the 16-bit I've used in the first video, but it works on the same principle, and I'm going to show you this now. So before we start talking about what we have in the circuit, I'm just going to mention that just like I mentioned in the previous video, once we power on a random access memory, all the flip-flops inside, they go into a random state. And this is the same case here, only I've powered it before I started this video. So I've written zeros all across the memory, so nothing comes out here. What we have in the circuit is we have a 555 timer circuit which provides a clock to our binary counter, which is an LS163. Here you can see 4 LEDs which shows us exactly which value the counter is currently at. This is our memory chip. It's a 7489 64 bits again, and here we have 4 LEDs to show the data that we're pulling out of the memory. Here we have a 4-bit dip switch, which is the data that we're putting into the memory, and I'm going to explain about this in a minute. We have a couple of functions here, a reset function for the clock, which we're not really going to use, but I just connected it, an enable function for the clock, a write function for the memory, so we are writing whatever we are putting into the data. Here we have another 4-bit dip switch, which allows us to feed a value into the counter, and that will again address the memory, but instead of counting all the way, we can just set a value, load it, and then we will go directly to the cell that we're addressing in the memory. And here we have the load function, which loads the value that we are setting in the address input, and it loads it into the counter, and then we can again address the memory. So let's see how it works. Again, I've cleared the entire memory. Before we continue, just another thing that I need to mention. Memories, they are categorized in such a way where, for example, in the previous video, I've used the 16-bit memory, and what that means is that we have the capability of storing 16 words in our memory, and each word is made out of a single bit. So every time we are reading a certain cell or a flip-flop in the memory, we are reading or writing a single bit that is in the previous video. In this video, we are using a 64-bit memory. That still means that we only have 16 words that we can store in the memory. However, each word is the length of 4 bits. So every time we are reading or writing a value, we are reading or writing 4 bits simultaneously, and that allows us to store larger values in this memory, but still only 16, just like in the previous video. So let's see how we work with it. So right now you can see that the memory is counting 16, 0, well 15, 0, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and it just counts on, and every time it produces a value, it's actually addressing a certain address inside the memory. And as I said, since I put all zeros into it, nothing comes out here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wait. There we have 14 and 15, and I'm going to hold the counter now on 15, and we're going to set a value of 9 inside cell number 15. So I've set the data to 9, and we're going to write it, and here we've written the value of 9, so we have 1001, and that's a 9. And it is in the cell number 15 inside our memory chip. Once I release the enable button, the counter will continue counting, and you will see that it just goes back to zeros because the rest of the memory is full with zeros. So I'm going to hold it again on value number 3 right now. And we're going to set number 3 with just a 3 as well. So we're going to write it. Oh, that's not a 3, sorry. There we go. So we've written a 3, and I'm going to release it, and the rest of the cells, they just have zeros in them. Now, at this point, I'm holding the counter again, because I want to address cell number 16. We had a little glitch here, poor grounding. But again, I want to address cell number 16, and I want to pull out the 9. I don't want to wait until the counter counts from 0 to 15, and then I get to the cell that I want. I want to pull the value out right now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to set our address switch to 15, or 16, the way you choose to call it, considering the 0 or not. And we're going to load this into the counter. And right now we have addressed cell number 15, and you can see that it had the value of 9 in it. There we go. So it had the value of 9, and once I release it, it just continues on counting. So again, we have zeros, and we reached cell number 3. It had the value 3 we've put in it, and the rest are zeros. So let's address, for example, cell number 3, and see again the value that we've stored inside of it. So there we go. We addressed cell number 3, and we have the value of 3. And yeah, that's about it. It's pretty easy to work with them. You just need to understand the logic of how it works and everything. So that's it. That concludes my videos about reading and writing into memories. You can watch the first video if you want to learn exactly what goes inside and how you address it and everything like that. But that's it. I hope you like this video, and if you have any questions or comments, then feel free to leave them at the bottom. And that's it. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.